My moment to shine. Rory McIlroy discusses his aspirations for the Ryder Cup and achievements at the Masters. Winning an away Ryder Cup is considered one of the utmost achievements in the sport of golf, and that's exactly what we aim to do at Bethpage. This powerful statement captures the essence of Rory McIlroy's ambitions surrounding the Ryder Cup in 2023. Following a heated exchange with American caddy Joe LaCava, McIlroy almost found himself in a fistfight in a car park, but returned on the third day to spearhead Europe's stunning win in Rome. With exuberant celebrations following their success, he confidently proclaimed that the cup would be retained. Were those words simply said in the heat of the moment, or does he genuinely believe it? In a serene corner of the East Lake locker room in Atlanta, McIlroy shared, "I feel perhaps more assured than I did back then. I made that statement during the thrill of our Ryder Cup triumph, but considering everything that has transpired since then, the way our team is evolving and Luke agreeing to captain us again, I feel a stronger sense of continuity among the players, especially with Europeans showing outstanding form leading into the event. If I compare our current position to the last two away Ryder Cups I participated in, I genuinely think we're in a much better place. While I recognize we're still seen as underdogs, I have greater confidence than I had in 2016 and 2021 that we can achieve this." McIlroy is set to step back onto the Ryder Cup stage as the sixth player in history to complete the prestigious career Grand Slam, further elevating his already impressive status in the golf world. The events at the Masters held in April will undoubtedly serve as significant markers for this and many other golfing seasons, regardless of whether Luke... Notably, McIlroy's charm shines through, especially considering he finally checked off his last major title after a wait of over a decade. His remarks made in Italy, however, reveal that the thought of Bethpage had been lingering in his mind long before he triumphed at Augusta. Reflecting on their dramatic victory at Medina in 2012, McIlroy mentioned, "At that time, I didn't fully grasp the scale of our achievement. It was only my second outing in a Ryder Cup, and my first one abroad. I underestimated the magnitude of what we accomplished, especially given how that Sunday unfolded. It feels like a distant memory now, and I would love to relive that euphoria. I can vividly recall the emotions I experienced, but I just didn't appreciate how challenging that was to achieve." There's a broader dialogue around the Ryder Cup, suggesting that it might benefit from some occasional away victories. "Absolutely. That would add depth to the event," McIlroy affirmed. "It doesn't require revitalization, but an away win could introduce an intriguing layer. The dynamics of the Ryder Cup now provoke curiosity. Which team might falter first? When the Americans came to Rome, it had been 3 decades since their last away win. Originally, McIlroy was set to face Patrick Cantlay, LaCava's client, in Match 3 during that decisive Sunday, but decided, after discussions with Captain Donald, to sidestep that potential conflict by competing against Sam Burns instead in Match 4. Historically, I've played third, and they were aware of that. I believe this choice benefited both myself and the team. Ultimately, on a Sunday, the focus is simply on securing the point, irrespective of your opponent. Back in 2016 at Hazeltine, McIlroy was at the center of a controversy that involved boisterous U.S. fans and Patrick Reed. With the added excitement expected from the passionate New York crowd, one might wonder what will unfold next. The tribal nature of this non-tribal game often results in unpredictable outcomes. "None of this is orchestrated," insists McIlroy. "It's not like we plot these moments in advance. I think it's nearly predetermined that something will happen in New York. While it may not directly involve me, the intensity of the environment is bound to spark some drama, whether like what transpired in Rome or something entirely different." When you immerse yourself in that atmosphere for several days with relentless crowd engagement, it becomes inevitable that it might affect someone or even us as a collective. We just need to be vigilant in looking after one another and ensuring mutual support. When discussing Bryson DeChambeau's attitude, McIlroy laughed rather than rolled his eyes. DeChambeau experienced a setback as McIlroy triumphed at Augusta. Yet notably, his plan is to chirp in McIlroy's ear. At Bethpage, McIlroy's response was candid. The only way he garners attention is by referring to other players, he stated bluntly. To bring focus to himself, he has to mention me, Scottie Scheffler, or other names. The setting of this dialogue serves as a nostalgic reminder of McIlroy's ascent within the echelon of golfing legends. Just 7 years ago, in this very locker area, McIlroy exchanged his thoughts while Tiger Woods strolled past us. A momentous week where Woods ultimately clinched victory amid thunderous applause, a victory only surpassed by his future Masters accolades. At that time, McIlroy was still on a quest, longing for that coveted green jacket. Fast forward to 2025, and McIlroy finds himself signing Masters flags, while Woods no longer competes actively. After triumphing at the Masters this year, attention turned to McIlroy's next moves, which he found to be somewhat burdensome. Once I conquered that goal, external chatter moved towards the idea of a calendar slam, and my reaction was, can't I just relish this victory for a moment? He elaborated, that's what people typically expect from athletes. They don't want to hear that we're satisfied, as that might imply a lack of commitment. However, when you've relentlessly pursued a goal for so long and finally achieve it, resetting new objectives tends to take its own time. This led McIlroy into a fascinating exploration of the psychological aspects of being at the pinnacle of his sport. On one hand, he could have taken a prolonged break from tournaments, yet there was a compelling urge to recommit to his profession. While the Ryder Cup was prominently on his mind, he didn't hesitate to sink a 30-foot birdie putt to secure a playoff spot at an Irish Open, which he ultimately won. After experiencing such a monumental win, it feels like other achievements pale in comparison, McIlroy explained. Not that they actually don't matter. It's a double-edged sword. The past few years have taught me that when the curtains fall on my career, people won't reminisce about how much money I've earned. Instead, they'll recall the number of majors I seized. Hence, maintaining motivation for those events, not an issue. The routine weekly commitments, however, have often posed a challenge. The majors and the Ryder Cup represent those 5 elements in golf that hold the highest significance for me today. Winning the Masters with caddy and best friend, Harry Diamond, was unbelievable. I dream of clinching an Open with him, and I would love to finally secure that elusive US Open title that we've come so close to. It's not only about my journey, it's also about those who have walked alongside me through this adventure. Despite calling Florida his residence, McIlroy always appears at ease when in Europe. He feels a sense of nostalgia that fuels his aspirations for the Ryder Cup. I often reflect on my early days as a professional. It reminds me of a simpler, more joyful period of my life, where I was just grateful to see the world playing golf. I love performing in front of local crowds, something I battled with earlier in my career. These folks have watched me mature into the player I am today. You can easily detach from the broader golf community. It sometimes doesn't feel all-encompassing. I find it simpler to step away from the daily grind of tour life. The concept of being Rory McIlroy is difficult for anyone to fully comprehend, yet many try. If offered a moment of tranquility, he might gratefully embrace it. I often find it challenging to fully appreciate my current position, he confides. There are moments when I wish to glide through life without the attention I attract, yet I understand that my accomplishments in the sport dictate this notoriety. At times, I long for anonymity and a quieter lifestyle, which I know will come someday. For now, this is my moment to shine. In 10 years, that may not be the case, so it's crucial to relish this phase of my career. Enjoy the time while it lasts. And so, as listeners and fans, we are invited to celebrate McIlroy's journey, but also to ponder. What do you think the pressures and expectations placed upon athletes can do to their performance? Are these expectations motivating, or do they become burdensome? Share your thoughts in the comments below.